and understand you're taking on new and different challenges with your new web series, Divergence. How does it feel to be in the driver's seat? And how does it compare to being just an actor? And could you tell us a bit about Divergence?
So why don't you tell them a little bit about Divergence first, and then I'll talk about
Absolutely.
what it feels like to be in the driver's seat for once.
And then we'll talk about just an actor.
And then we'll talk about just an actor. Okay.
The most important person on the set. So Divergence is a internet original series that is action sci-fi, and what we're trying to do is create a new way for people to look at internet original content. More like what you'd see is on an AMC or Showtime or HBO series than the what people typically associate with it. So this is more like a feature film, and this is action sci-fi, great suspense, great writing, great acting, great music. Our music's incredible, and we're really trying to just up the level of the whole web series experience. So, and Dan and I created Divergence, and
I'll tell you what, we were both reluctant. We were talking about it at first, and I was coaxing him into entertaining the idea at first, and then we're entertaining the idea, and then we're talking about just two guys running around with the camera, and then next thing you know, we've got to write it. Well, you've got to write it. No, you've got to write it. And then it gets to a point, well, okay, so who do you know that you can get in contact with to help produce this? He's like, I can't do that. You've got to do that. You're down in Los Angeles. He's in Seattle.
I live in Seattle.
And so, it's interesting. People think that when you're an actor and you're suddenly in the driver's seat and you're the boss and you're co-creator and you're producing, that maybe that might, how does that, I know they wonder how that feels and, what that sort of does to you. And it's stressful. There's a tremendous amount of responsibility. You have to make sure that you don't get in your own way as an actor by imposing your ideas of casting into, on the people you're working with. In this case, just the other guy, my partner, my business partner here.
So our background is we've worked together for over 10 years on different projects. I first cast Dan in one of my first short films. In the 10-something years since then, I've gone on and directed feature films. I direct national commercials. I direct a lot of things. And of course, Dan's career has grown in many ways. He's expanded into video games, and he's a motion capture star and still on television and films. But we both came into this because we were kind of frustrated with what was going on in just the film industry and our own places in it, and we decided, let's go and capture. Let's not talk about this. Let's just do this. Let's go out and make the shows that we wish were on the air, that we could watch as fans. The kind of stuff we want, the sci-fi stuff that we love that always gets canceled, right? And so this is how we approach it, and this is why it took a little coaxing, because neither one of us is the kind of guy who's going to jump in and then easily jump back out of something. We're both
right.
we both have to it takes a minute to commit to something, because we know it's a lot of work, and we've seen all the jobs that everybody has to do on these, and we realized that we're going to have to take on probably 90% of those jobs just between the two of us, and still try in the beginning, and still try and get the and just hire a couple people or bring in a couple friends to help us where we could on those other things we couldn't do.
Right, and so in this circumstance, we realized we would have to be very careful about not stepping on, not because we have so much responsibility and so much control over the project, not having the project suffer because of that. And so I think it worked out that we just have the right personalities as two guys working together to realize that we can't get in our own way, and we do have to bounce stuff off each other and trust the collaboration. Which is one of the things we were talking about.
Yeah.
So being in control in this circumstance meant also learning how to not be in control all the time. But there were every once in a while we would say, and this is the cool part. This is the cool part about being the boss and being in control. Every once in a while we go, well, can we do that? And we look at each other and go, we do whatever we want.
It's our show.
We're the boss.
It's our show.
That's what we'll do.
The composer is a good friend of mine, and he works on. His name's BRENNAN, and we worked with him for a long time. He works on shows like V and Battlestar Galactica and Sarah Connor Chronicles and all these things. And so when we were first talking about, I had a conversation with him and about music, and he said, well, do you think, he said, I think this would be really cool, but no one's ever gone with this, with quite this direction. I said, Brandon, the reason we're doing this is to do the stuff that we think is cool that no one's letting us do. So if you think that's a cool direction, then go for it. Plus the music sounds incredible. But that's for everything. We're like, what's the right way to do it? Forget the rules, forget how we're supposed to do things, forget how people have told us. What do we think is right? And it's great because you do that. At the same time, it's a little scary because there's nobody to look up to and go, that's cool, right? And then,
Right.
But I would say, to your point about what's the difference between being an actor and a creator, one of the differences is, and aside from all the cool stuff and guiding where the story goes, one of the differences is an actor on a project shows up, someone keeps careful track of their time, and you can't go over, and they sign you out at the end of the day, and they can't wait to get you home. So, but when it's your show, it just never stops. You get up and there's days when we would get up, Dan would run out and get everybody coffee while, me and somebody are loading up the truck, and we go and shoot all day. At the end of the day, we had a honey bucket, and which is a porta potty, right, on wheels, and Dan would be scrubbing out the toilet, scrubbing out the honey bucket, and I'd be loading stuff up, and we'd have to go home, and because we don't want to get the extra $50 charge for cleaning it. Right. So we would do. Also,
you've got to make, because when you're producing something where you're having to build this company from the ground up, in the beginning you've got to make people's experience with you a memorable one that's good. So they've got to feel like they can come to set, and there'll be food there. It'll be good food to eat. We had some creative ways to do that, and that the bathrooms are clean, and that there's a place to go to the bathroom. Just take care of their basic needs so that they can handle the stress of how tough the shoot's going to be.
Because people worry one of the big worries when people say, "Wow, it's just two guys. There's no company." I mean, we have a company, but really deep down at the core, it's two guys and some really great talented people who chosen to work with us.
Right.
But people
not
are
just two guys doing everything. We do
No.
have a crew of people that we hire, but at the end of the day, we still have to mastermind the schedule and
and put it together.
Get everybody going and
Yeah.
running and managed and organized.
But our goal is always that what people care about is how's it going to look at the end, and then how what's it going to be like working with you guys. So for working with us, we try to make sure that in all the important ways, it's just like a big shoot, right?
And for any of those, by the way, cast and crew members that were a part of the first, we shot this series in 2 sessions. The first 6-day session was freaking crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Stressful. And
We thought we were going to shoot the whole 12 episodes in 6 days.
Almost a calamity, 9 days. I think we thought 9 days, but we only ended up shooting 6 episodes
in 9 days. Yeah.
But it was almost a catastrophe, and it was the second session where we had learned a lot on what we could do and how we could try not to be a production company, and realize that these are our strengths, these are our weaknesses. This is how we have to adapt.
Yeah.
And it was the second shoot where I'm proud to say that people's experiences working with us and working on that shoot were good ones.
Yeah, we asked ourselves a lot of hard questions about what we could have done better after the first 9-day shoot. So we're
anybody
we've
who's
got a lot
part
to
of the
learn
first shoot
still.
that goes, no, that's not what it was
What
like.
are these guys
We're not
talking
being
about?
hypocrites. We understand and accept that the first shoot was not the easiest thing ever.
Yeah. No.
And we didn't want to. And by the way, at the end of that shoot, we looked at each other, and I know he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him like, I don't think we can do this, man. But we did, and I'm glad we got through it and we did the second shoot. And now, I think we really do believe confidently that we can do this and we can create really good content.
And keep the series coming,
and it can be something that we'd
alive.
like to do for a living.
Yeah.
Working for ourselves.
So next question.
All right.